Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. She'll also bring insightful interviews with successful business owners who have used networking to expand their businesses. Building relationships is the heart of networking, and generosity is the cruise ship that will navigate you toward those important relationships for your business or career. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Hello there, and welcome to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast. I'm your host, Faithann. I'm glad you found the show. Networking is providing opportunities for others that they would not have except for you, so that you have standing to ask for opportunities from those same people when you need them. How do we create opportunities for others, and how do we ask for those same opportunities? Well, that's what this podcast is all about. It's what I'm here for. Let's dive into episode 20. Listeners, I have with me a very special friend, Amy Thurman. Amy, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Oh my goodness, Faithann. It's such an honor. Anything I can do to help you and promote you, I'm there for it.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. I'm just so happy to be here. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I'm so glad our paths crossed. We met at a networking meeting, and I don't remember if it was Mix and Mingle or if it was BNI first, but we met.
We did. I too don't remember. Actually, it was BNI.
Okay.
It was BNI because I reached out and wanted to just see what it was about, and then you texted me.
Okay.
And then just followed up. Like I was like, oh, this person is texting me and checking on me, and I'm like, I don't even know her. That's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to make people feel important. The idea of change is so strong that we have to ease people into change. We can't just make them do all the work. Got to lead them in. And so I'm glad to hear that you felt that it was inviting.
Very much so. Yeah, I was really surprised when I got a text from you because I wasn't expecting that at all. I was just going to show up and be like, I'm a stranger here. But to have the connection with you before that, it's like I walked in like, okay, where's Faithann? It's a person that I know kind of, and that it helped a lot. Really did.
So if you are in charge of a networking group and you have a registration feature, it's always a great plan to reach out to those people before they come so that they can put at least a human voice with a face, a name, and make them feel more welcome.
Absolutely. It made a difference to me for sure.
Well, good. So this week we're going to talk about your elevator pitch specifically. And we've been doing this series of elevator pitches. And so I've had guests on who do really well. And so we talked about those. And then there's been a couple of solo episodes about what to include, what not to include. Last week's episode was all around the examples in the Referrals in 60 Seconds playbook that I used. And then I also went over a client's elevator pitch that they wrote using the Referrals in 60 Seconds playbook.
Oh, cool.
She did such a great job. Yeah. And I asked her, can I read this on the air? And she said, sure, because she just did such a great job. So you can find that at the networkerstourguide.net/products. So this week, I've asked Amy to come on because she has expressed a desire to improve her elevator pitch.
I think what really happened, Faithann, was you said, these are the episodes that I'm looking to do, and one of them is to coach someone on their pitch. And I said, put me down for that. Yeah. I need some coaching on my pitch. Let's do it.
So that's what we did, or that's what we're going to do. And before we just dive in, you can tell the listeners a little bit about what you do.
Okay, so you're going to test me right here.
No, this is not the official. This is just familiarize us with who you are, what you do, how you serve people.
Yeah, I usually say, I'm Amy Thurman. I have lived the past 10 years with a broken neck that went undetected for 6 months. And I'm a best-selling author, a speaker, an educator, and a transformation consultant, where I help people move from living and operating in a place of fear to living and operating from a place of authenticity.
Excellent. How long has your book been out?
It was April 26, 2024, but that was the 10-year anniversary of my neck injury. I took a date that was always traumatic. Every year for 10 years when that date came up, it was like, oh, this is the date that I almost died. And I published my book on that date so that I could now see it as a victory, something worth celebrating.
What a
So,
fantastic idea.
yeah.
Is that something that you teach to do? That's a great tip.
Yeah, it's just a form of reframing, which is
Mhm.
something that I teach, is
Okay.
to look at things from a different perspective. And that was a very, very tangible way that I could do that. Not only think about it differently, but also like, okay, I've done this thing, and people are celebrating it, so I'm going to celebrate it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. And your book, you wrote it very quickly, like over the course of a year, right?
It was a matter of, let's see, December to April, but just a few months. But I had stopped and started so many times before I started really dug in December because it was such a traumatic experience that the emotions just overwhelmed me. And I finally got to the point where I said, I can't do it. It's too hard to relive this tragedy. And someone said to me, have you ever thought about writing it from the person you are now instead of the person you were then? And I said, but how am I going to get to those emotions? It needs those emotions. And she said, well, just sit with it and see if that feels right. And so it took me about a week. And I thought, I think there's something to this. Let me shift gears and see this from the person I am now. And I totally scrapped everything that I had and just started over. So I did. I started over in December and then published it April 26th.
And what's the name of it?
It's called Finding My Hero Within, a journey from incapacitation to empowerment.
Okay, so listeners, if you want to read an inspiring story about Amy and her neck, you can go to it's on Amazon.
Yes, and also on my website. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and I'll link your website in the show notes. So let's talk about your pitch. There's different ways we can frame the pitch. The first one is the ambulance chaser. So ambulance chasers get a bad rap because we're like that creepy ambulance chaser,
Right.
But the idea is very sound. You want to go where the action is. So one way you can think about your elevator pitch is you're asking the people to find people who have just done thing X, thing Y. This has just happened to them. And now your people are going to look for those kinds of people because you have something to offer them. Now, underlying is the idea in Tour 10 of the networkerstourguide.net is the article, I'm Looking for a Girl in a Red Dress, which I know you read that and you said you really liked that.
Yeah, it stuck with me for sure.
So the idea is that we're painting a picture and we're telling the people who we're looking for instead of telling the room how awesome we are. We're telling the room who we're looking for because they already have an opinion of you or they haven't made an opinion of you yet. So 60 seconds is not enough time to have somebody make an opinion of you, but it is enough time to say who you're looking for. And the people who already know you, if that image pops up in their head, they're more likely to bring you up to their friends and family. And that's the key to a referral is it's not just that we need to know who you're looking for, but we need to be willing to bring you up. Otherwise, the words just stay in that room. They don't ever leave the room.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm finding
Mm-hmm.
is that's what's happening. I think I do a lot of networking with the limitations that I have. And I love meeting people. I love connecting with people just because I love people's stories. I love to know about them. But it's not really going anywhere for me business-wise. That's why I need your brilliant brain, Faithann, just to help me shift that,
Yeah.
because I don't really know which piece I'm missing.
Okay. One thing before we talk about the elevator pitch, you think about is, are you showing up consistently at one particular meeting where people they know if they go to that meeting, they're going to see Amy? That would be something I'd be asking myself is consistently attending one is better than sporadically attending 4.
Yeah, that I do mix and mingle in Norman almost every time
Okay.
they're there. So yeah, I do others sporadically.
Okay.
That's the one that I feel like they're my people.
Well, good.
Sometimes I go just because I want to see my friends. I keep saying I want to go see my friends. That's really the only time I get to see those specific people, and I do feel like they're my friends because of that event. Thank you, Sybil Hill.
Yeah, right. She's a great connector.
Yes,
in the Oklahoma City area.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we can talk a little bit offline about maybe some other ideas, but this will help you if we can put a picture of somebody who you're looking for in the mind of somebody, and that person has rapport with you, and you make it easy for them to bring you up in conversation, you might see an improvement in your referrals?
Oh, my niche is so specific. I think that's one of the things that throws me because I struggle with a few things. Let me just start with my story has so much to do with what I do. Like I do what I do because of my story, because of the trauma that I've been able to overcome, and the way I've advocated for myself, and the resilience that I have gained. So I really feel like I need to include that piece
Mm-hmm.
in it so that they know what I've been through and that that's where I'm coming from. I think it's because that's the way I connect with people is if I know what they've been through and they've overcome this and now they're going to help me do something similar, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, yes. And so I find it difficult to include enough of my story, the backstory, in with the rest of the pitch. It's interesting that you're asking me this because I had a male that I went to high school with message me the other day, and he said, I absolutely love what you're doing. Your message is resonating. It's helping a lot of people, but I feel like you're leaving out a lot of men in the way that your verbiage. And that shocked me because I had never thought about, I'm not targeting, I mean, women aren't really the ones who I thought I was speaking to, but I think as a woman, it probably just resonates. It just comes out more. And it really made me think, like, okay, I really need to rethink or at least become aware of the way I'm presenting this if men feel like I'm leaving them out. It's just interesting. Like I'd never thought about it like that before. But I was really grateful that he was willing to share that with me because otherwise I wouldn't have known at all.
Yeah.
So I feel like I need to make it more universal
Mm-hmm.
because I'm really not targeting men or women. It can work for anyone. The person I'm looking for is the person that's willing to do some work, some internal work, who is willing to look beyond the roles that they play and the hats that they wear and the expectations that people give them and look into who they are at their core, who they are authentically, and be willing to step into that authentic version of themselves, which takes a lot of internal work.
Okay.
And it's a deep type of work that a lot of people are not willing to do. But the people who are willing to do it, it's life changing for them in every area of their lives, relationships, their finances, their business, their family life. It changes everything. And so that's why I say it works for pretty much anyone. But to get that message out there that resonates with them enough, I think most just society teaches men, we don't acknowledge emotions, we don't feel them, we don't express them, we don't talk about them. But this is a deeply emotional thing that I do. And so it's a difficult thing to put it into words and express it in a way that may draw people in like that who maybe society is teaching them that's not okay, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I have a couple questions just on
Sure.
what you just said. The transformational work that you do about finding who you are, your true self. Why would somebody need to know their true self?
The authentic version of who they are is going to be much more effective in doing anything in their lives, because if we're pretending or if we're just trying to meet the expectations that others put on us, then it's not really, we don't really have enough passion because we're trying to meet all these expectations that other people have put on us. But if this is something that's from our core, from our authentic self, then we live it more fully. We live it more authentic. We live it more passionately. We live it more boldly. And it just becomes something that just blossoms naturally. It's not something that, people may roll their eyes when I say this, but it's not really something you have to work at. When you learn to become your authentic self and live from that place of not from fear, but from authenticity, things just happen as they're supposed to. Things find their way to you. Things just begin to flow. And you don't have to really, really strive to make things happen because they just begin to happen automatically.
Okay. Wow. They're saying so much good stuff. Things find their way to you.
Yes, they just flow.
You don't have to strive. Okay. If I were going to finish that sentence, you don't have to strive to what?
You don't have to strive to achieve your purpose. You don't have to strive to find joy.
What are some concrete ways that if you know that your life changes? So when you say it changes your relationships in your family.
thinking it from my life. My kids will tell you that I can just be goofy and silly, and they will laugh at me because of the things that I say that I don't know that I'm saying. It's just like me being my authentic self. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, you're so funny." And I'm just like, I'm not trying to be funny. And they say, "But you just are. That's just part of who you are when you're just being yourself and not trying to be someone else." And I have always struggled to be a person who has fun. I have always been the responsible one, the one who checks off the boxes. And so fun is a really hard thing for me. But when I'm in my authenticness, if that's a word, then I am able to, just have fun and kind of let my walls down and just kind of be silly.
And so when you're goofy and you're silly with your kids, what's the result of that? What's the positive thing that happens? That may seem like an obvious question, but they need to the end of that, because if you say, I can be more goofy and silly around my kids, well, that's a thing, but it's not the result. So
Right.
what is the benefit of being able to be more goofy and silly around your kids?
They are more open with me.
Oh, that's
They are
good.
more vulnerable. They will share, like my 14-year-old shares things with me that I'm like, "No, stop talking. I don't want to know that."
So you found that as you've been more open, as you've been your more authentic self, you find that the people around you, the people that are closest around you, are more open to you about their own lives.
Yes, and not just the people closest to me. I literally, anywhere I go, at some point someone approaches me and literally it's like I have a sign on that says "bare your soul" to me, because people just open up to me and start talking, and they cry and they tell me like they have things on their chest that they just need to get off. And for some reason I have this vibe about me that they just feel safe with me. And it happens literally everywhere I go, not just in my home.
Okay. So someone who has a hard time with the people in their life being open and honest with them would benefit, because it's not about the people, it's about changing you so that they feel like they can be more open.
Yes. Yeah, that's good.
So now what we need to just find out or put into words is, let's paint a picture of somebody who wants the people in their lives to be more open to them, and will be able to achieve that by finding their authentic self. That's our person.
Okay.
What about somebody who has just gone through a divorce and now their kids, now it's like we're on a different playing field with these kids. They probably have what kids have who go through divorce. They think it's their fault. They probably will be more closed off. Would you think? To at least one or the other, I don't know, or both. So now we could go that route. I'm looking for the person who has just gotten a divorce, because I would think in a divorce it would be really important for that mom and dad to let the kids know that I'm going to come at you through authenticity, and you don't have to hide things from me. And there's repair that has to happen regardless. Yes. Even if people don't find their own true self, there's repair in relationship. So that's a theme: repair.
Yes.
Relationship repair.
Yes, I love that.
So we can go there. It's just coming at me right now. But I really think the ambulance chaser with the person who is going through a divorce or has just divorced needs to repair the relationship with their kids. Do you think that if they worked with you, would they have an easier time?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
We found it.
Yeah. Ding, ding. We got it.
We found one at least.
Yeah.
Hi, listeners. Are you someone who struggles to make a great first impression when you meet others? Faithann has put together her guide to help you make a great first impression no matter where you are. This quick guide gives you simple tips to leave a powerful first impression, the first step to relationship building. Go grab this free resource today by clicking on the impressions link in the show notes.
I would bring up that example you brought up about your kids and laughing and goofy. I think that's exceptional, because a family who has just gone through a divorce, there's probably not a lot of laughter going on. When you talk about how finding your authentic self has allowed you to be more goofy and silly around your kids. And because of that, they're more open with you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the friend, who is going through a divorce, who knows that there's relationship repair that needs to happen.
Oh, that's good.
Who knows that relationship repair needs to happen and would benefit from learning who they truly are, so that, because one thing, and I'm interrupting myself, but one thing that we want to avoid is this find your true self is a buzz phrase. So we want to make sure that we're not just saying that we're looking for people who want to find their true self, because they aren't going to know who those people are.
Exactly. That's right.
But we want to emphasize that the benefit of finding your true self is this thing that you just mentioned about now my son is more open with me. My goodness. Think about the people who would want their kids to be more open with them, especially the teenagers. You could even do a whole nother one about teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now my best friend's has a teenager. And man, he was just talking the other night about how they fight like cats and dogs. That's a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting too that this whole concept of improving yourself, instead of people going to take parenting classes to improve the behavior of their kids, they're saying, let me work on me first.
That's right. And what I was just thinking was, when that happens, if the parent goes through that and learns to do that, then the child is observing that, and it also will teach the child to be doing this too. That's what has happened in my life. Like, my children have watched me do this, go through this process, and in along the journey have learned to do it themselves. So it's like they're a reflection. Polish the mirror, that's my business. So they're a reflection of what I'm doing as a parent, whether they know it or not, or they're aware of it. That's what's happening. And yeah, my 14-year-old has become very much more open with his friends and with other people. And it's just kind of a ripple.
A ripple effect. Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
So not only is it helping that parent and that relationship, it's also impacting the child in a different way.
And their own relationships.
Yes.
In which you would want to emphasize if you're having one-to-one or something, that can also come up. Or do you think that if a child is having problems with their relationships, do you think that, let's say the mom's not having or the dad's not having any problems, but by improving themselves, would that help their kid?
Absolutely.
So there's a whole nother one
Right.
that you could do.
Absolutely. Yeah. It just keeps going and going, because it just affects so many things. That's why I'm here, because I'm like, it affects so many things. How do I bring it in and rein it in? And that's a perfect example, and one that I had not thought about. I was thinking of corporations and businesses, and I did think about families, but I didn't think about it from that perspective. Oh, I love that.
What I suggest that you start with the thing about your son and being more silly, and the nice thing about that is that you don't really need to go into your neck and your struggle.
That's true.
Because you sought self-discovery through your trauma, but here we can start with just having more fun with your son. I've learned to XYZ, and as a result, I now, with my son, I laugh. I mean, you're going to want to get those words where they sound nice, but that's the idea. Then I'm looking for the friend who is going through a divorce and needs relationship repair, or I said it better the first time, but I can't remember what I said, but you'll have the transcript.
Yes.
And the benefit that they're going to get from showing up more authentically in the relationship, so that the kids feel like they can share back, like they can be more open, and that repair can start to happen. Okay, so we've got the testimonial, which in your case, it's going to be you. Then we're painting that picture. I'm looking for a girl in a red hat. So we're moving into that part, the ambulance chaser. Okay. Of who you're looking for. It's that divorce parent. Then we need a way to bring you up so that people have the right words to bring you up. So it might sound something like, when you hear your friend talk about, so what would be the words that someone might say if they're wanting if they're struggling to have an open relationship with their child because they are not showing up authentically.
Oh, if there's any kind of resistance, any kind of conflict.
Okay, talking about conflict.
Conflict happens. It's a natural part of life. It's actually healthy. But if it's a consistent thing, if there's consistent conflict or consistent resistance, then yeah, that's definitely part of it.
Okay. Resistance to what?
To I don't want to say the rules, but just
The authority?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And possibly mentorship, maybe? Like as parents, we mentor our kids.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a softer word.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when you hear your friend say, the conflict that's happening in my home with my kids is about to do me in, or something like that.
Yeah.
Will that work for when you hear your friends say, or maybe even when you hear your friends say, when the kids come to my house after being with the spouse, there's a lot of conflict. I think that I know divorced people where, especially the younger the kids are, the more this happens where it takes like a day or two to even adjust.
I have been in that situation, and yes, that is true. The transition time, can be very, very conflict heavy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what we're going to, when you hear your friend talk about the conflict that happens, either generally the conflict is about to do me in with my kids, or when you hear your friend talk about how hard it is for their kids to readjust to being in their home after being with the other spouse, ask them if they've considered. Now, this is the part where you're going to have to really think long and hard about what is it that the question, have they considered looking for or hiring or talking to, do any of those things?
Seeking help for relationship repair.
Hot dog.
I know, right? That's perfect.
Now, who's going to say no to that?
Right.
No, I want to continue to have conflict with my kids. So the hardest part of your pitch now is written. The rest of it's easy. So you ask the question. Then what I like to say is, regardless of their answer, but you can phrase this any way you want. It doesn't matter what they say. That's the gist. It doesn't matter what they say. And I love this because it gives you a place to go. If they say yes, now it's the connection. Oh, you need to talk to Amy. Mm-hmm. She's excellent. She is going to help you so much. Oh, I'm going to connect you with her right away. Oh, wait, that's if they say no. Have you considered seeking a resource to help you repair this relationship? Or have you considered talking to somebody who could help you repair your relationship? Regardless of their answer. So if they say yes, well, they're more likely to tell you how that worked out, how that ended up. They're not just going to say yes. Mm-hmm. They're going to say, yeah, I have, and it didn't work. Or yeah, but XYZ. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter and these are the people in the room who are going to go out and look for these people or talk to the people that they know who are in this predicament. And you say, regardless of their answer, and then here's where you can choose if you want to say, tell them they need to talk to me and connect us through an email or a text. Or you can choose a more softer, ask them if they'd be willing to talk to me. And then if they say yes, introduce us through an email or a text. Either one. Mm-hmm. What I do, I'm like, tell them they need to talk to me because I'm so confident that at least a conversation would not be a waste of their time, even if they don't move forward with me at all. Because if they talk to me, I can point them to the podcast. I can point them to my blog. I can point them to resources, even if they don't hire me. I know that for my referral partners to say to their friends, you should talk to Faithann, to me, I believe that, Yeah. So I'm comfortable saying, tell them they need to talk to me and ask them if an email or a text is a better way to introduce us, better way to connect us. But if you don't want your people to say, tell them they should talk to Amy, you can say, ask them if they'd be willing to talk to me. And then if they say yes, introduce us through an email or a text, and then you say your name and the name of your business at the end. You say it at the beginning and the end. And that way, if they miss it at the beginning, they catch it at the end. If they miss it at the end, they caught it at the beginning.
Ooh, that's really good. My brain is like whirring now. Like it's spinning of all the ideas now that I just can go all the directions that this can go in all the ways that this can just, oh my gosh, bloom. So good. Because so many things that you said I hadn't even thought about. I never really thought about how it had affected my children, although I knew it had.
But that's what you talked about when I asked you. That's what came to your mind.
Yes.
So that is significant.
Yeah.
And if it's significant to you, it's going to be significant to somebody else, especially if they're going through a divorce. If I were in a divorce right now, I'd be like, yeah, let's get connected after this call, because that would be something I would be very worried about. It's probably the biggest fear that any divorced parent has is when we get through this, what's on the other end of this divorce with my kids?
And the wild thing to me about this is I used to teach parenting classes.
Oh, okay.
I used to teach the behavioral side of it. Now, when you said that earlier about how, what a difference it will make, and not teaching the behavioral side, but teaching that you start with yourself, I was just like, my brain just exploded.
So I think what might be fun, if you're open to this idea, is once I get the transcript, I'll send it to you and you can write it. I can write it, because now, we've gone through it together. It'd take me 5 minutes. And then if you're open, I can read it, in a future episode.
Oh, yeah, I would love that. That'd be great.
As we wrap up, I always ask my guests, what is one thing that you like to see when you network and one thing you don't like to see when you network?
I think it's because of who I am and what I do, but I love people just being authentic. You can tell when they're really trying to fake it or when they're trying to be someone that they're not. And just knowing that this person is just real with you, I love to see that. I don't like, this is something that has happened to me quite a few times. I don't like people pulling me in with, I want to know more about what you do. And when I do the one-on-one or when I network with them, it's all about them and what they want from me. It's not anything about how we could collaborate. It's just them, focused on them. It's not only disappointing, but it gives me a bad taste in my mouth. And I don't want to do business with them because I feel like that's not who I am. I'm a collaborative person. Like, I love to meet people and network because I want to do things and serve others. And that just doesn't sit well with me. And so I don't like when that happens.
That's terrible. It's the worst thing you can do. I have an idea for you after we get off the... Okay. I wonder if I should tell it now, just for everybody to benefit.
Sure. Go for it.
Okay. The person who's asking the most questions is leading the conversation, and kind of start with your questions. Make sure that the time allowed is, you say, I have about an hour. Does that still work for you? And so as soon as you start asking questions immediately, you're kind of the leader of the conversation. And then you can maybe mitigate against this one-sidedness. And then you start asking questions. And then you could say, because you're in control, because you're asking the questions, then you could say, this has been so interesting. Thank you, Rob, for making the time for me. Is it okay if I share a little bit about my business, what my passions are? They're not going to say no. And now you at least have that time. And you probably, if you get the sense that they're not an authentic person, you make that part of the conversation real short. Yeah. It's been great. Tell them 1, 2, 3, and then end it early. Yeah. That might be something you could consider doing.
Yeah, that's really good. I want to listen to their story. I want to know more about them. And this, what usually happens is I'm asking them questions about themselves, because I know, I can't remember the book, but I've done lots of reading. The more you allow people to talk about themselves, the better they feel about the conversation, the better they remember you, the better they feel about you if you let them talk about themselves. So that's the way I do it. I pretty much let them talk about themselves, and then switch gears into, okay, now it's my turn. Let me share about myself too. And sometimes the talking about themselves just goes on and on and on and on. And so I love this tip of, I can just step in there and say, well, my time's cutting short or something, I would love to share with you a little bit about what I do in my business, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's great.
And if you're the one starting with the questions, and an easy question to start with is, I've got about an hour. Does that still work for you? Now you're establishing this is how it's going to go. And then you ask your first question. And then halfway through, you find it when they stop. And then you, thank you so much. Is it okay if I share a little bit about my business? And kind of tilt your head a little bit, look at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's happened to me before too. And it's really discouraging.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen very often though, thankfully.
Yeah. That is true. The ratio of it happening and not happening is pretty slim, but it's like, it's so memorable. Like it sticks with you because it's not a good feeling. Like,
Right.
"Ooh, I don't want to go through that again." It definitely has an impact.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Of
This has been so
course.
much fun.
Right? Oh my gosh. So helpful. And I'm so excited. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I want to go test it out. I'm going to step outside on the street and be like, "Hey, come here. Let me test my pitch channel." And
Yeah. Where can people find you?
My website is pretty much a one-stop shop for my book, my social media links, all the things that I do. It's www.getamyshelp.com. That's GETAMYSHELP.com.
Okay. Listeners, go network, and remember, when you're going to have a one-to-one, make sure you're not the person that is being off-putting by talking only about yourself and not wanting to know the other person's story. You are missing out if you don't want to know about other people.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basor. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.